Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin' Dirt week number 2. That's right, Slingin' Dirt TV presented by Joe's Karting. Joe's Karting, where all your dreams and aspirations can come true. I tell you what, we got an interesting, fun week this week. We're going to be talking toter homes, Jeff Gear, DriveDirtCars.com. That's an interesting concept that he's got going on.
It is. It's something that it doesn't sound like it's going to work when you think about it, but when you talk to him about it and he explains the details, it makes racing affordable.
Right. So I sat down in the shop over in Illinois, talked to Jeff about it. So you'll have to watch that. Of course, we're going to have the tech tip. We're going to be talking about toter homes in a separate tip, or in a separate segment. And of course, the all too familiar song or so stay tuned. Slingin' Dirt TV, we'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin' Dirt. I'm Buddy Ray.
I'm Matt Dennis.
Yep, well, so far you are. We're both extremely tired. Yeah. We've only been up for 20 some hours, so if we say something a little goofy, don't worry about it. Well, don't worry about it with me. I'm goofy anyways. That goes without saying. Let's get right to it. Spring Nationals 2016. First of all, we all went down to North Carolina. We saw some friends. We picked up a new toy, to say the least.
And a week ago, we had every intention on going to Spring Nationals this year, getting footage, interviews, meet and greet kind of stuff. And well, as of the middle of last week, that plan changed.
On a dime. I mean, the plans changed faster than a sport mod going backwards on a racetrack. Trust me, I know. I've been there, done that. Got the t-shirt.
More than once.
Thank you. More than once. I perfected the technique. So with that being said, Spring Nationals, Friday night, good turnout, 302 cars I seen. Saturday night, 325 cars. And we were talking about this in North Carolina coming home. What is it about the Spring Nationals that brings everybody out? And I don't want to hear it's the first race of the year.
The event's grown in popularity so much the last few years. It started out with 100 cars the first couple years. And part of it is going to be the itch. The cars are together, drivers want to get out there. But this race is so popular in itself that everybody wants to be there.
Right. I think one of the big draws for Beatrice Speedway with the Spring Nationals, every track's going to have their proverbial first night. It doesn't matter if it's March, April, May, June, whenever. But the one thing that comes to mind when I think of Beatrice is track prep. That is a dry, slick, 90% of the time it's very smooth. Not saying that it can't roughen up a little bit, but you've been there for Spring Nationals a bunch.
It's a fun track to go to, it really is. It's not overly big, it's not small, but like you said, 90% of the time it's smooth.
Very, very smooth, very dry, slick. And when I say dry, slick, you're not getting that dust bowl effect.
Right, it's like it's got a tacky effect, so there's no dust, but it's
not
slick.
Yeah, we don't.
It's like walking across the sheet of ice when you slip down your steps walking outside.
Saturday night, the big story, if you're a racer, you live within 500 miles of Omaha, and you haven't heard, it's the race of the century, the lifetime, the generation, J-Note Boom.
And literally, 20 minutes ago, we had a chance to finally sit down and watch the video.
That was incredible.
And
to come from the B, it starts way back in the A.
Well, not only him, but Hunter Marriott, Dylan Smith,
Terry
Phillips.
Yeah.
I mean, by the end of the race, the whole field had inverted itself, basically, except for Jordan Grabowski. And he had a good starting spot, and he was able to hold it through the whole race.
Yeah, no disrespect to Jordan Grabowski. I've often said that when you start on the front row of any race, that to me is the hardest row to start. People say I'm an idiot, maybe I am. I like starting further back in the field versus on the front row. when you're in the back of the field, you can kind of gauge what everybody's doing, where they're going. You know, you can't predict every move on the track, but you can see that, well, this guy's going here, Dylan Smith's going there, Jay Noteboom's going there. But when they're all behind you, you don't know. Is Grabowski behind me to the right rear? Is Terry Phillips on my left rear? You don't know.
And there's a handful of drivers, if they start front row, their mindset is, I can win. I start up front. That's not always the case, because like Bud just said, you don't know who's running where and how fast they are. So if you start 3 or 4 or 5 rows deep, you can gauge where your competition is going and where they're stronger, so you know when to block them, when to slide them, whatever it is. But now you've got the knowledge to beat them in retrospect versus just being a sitting duck.
Last week, we were talking about your extensive experience in dirt track racing, the drivers you've helped, without naming any of the drivers. When you look across the board with all drivers that you've helped, if you had to, I guess, take an average starting position across the board, where do most of them like to start?
All of them like to start up front.
Well,
but when it comes down to a draw, if they can get, I guess, unlucky enough to be lucky to draw somewhere in that 4th or 5th row, they can gauge the competition.
My favorite starting spot is actually 2nd row outside, because it doesn't matter what track you go to, 90% of the time, your 2nd row, you're outside. That front row, guess where the outside guy's going? He's gonna go straight to the top. That pole sitter, guess where he's gonna go? Straight to the bottom.
Which leaves the whole middle open.
Yep, I love that. You know, my second favorite is 3rd row outside. And then you got the guy over here, you know, 5th place. I had to think about that. Boy, I need to get back on dirt. 5th place, you know, you got to worry about where he's going, but usually it's not too big of a deal. I don't mind starting 4th or 5th, but a lot of times guys get too impatient too early on in the race, and when you're in that 4th and 5th row, stuff gets tore up really quick.
Right. I guess I prefer the guys being 3rd, 4th, 5th row, because if you can come out, even in tech, not even a win,
right,
you had to work for it.
Yep.
And not that you don't have to work for it starting in the first 2 or 3 rows, but
yeah,
you've got to really work for
Nationals, it. He worked for what he got.
Right.
Until, I don't know if he hooked the berm and spun it in 2 or what. You know, we're not making fun of him.
In the quick chance that we got to watch the video, and we watched the video once, that's it. We didn't rewind and play and rewind and play, but it almost looked like just good hard racing, and he got the bad end of the stick, and it looked like he hooked the left side on the berm.
That's what it looked like to me. I don't know. Maybe we can catch up with Jordan, but.
Which brings me to something that we had talked about on the way home, was the internet.
Yes.
All over the internet, it was Jordan Grabowski junks his car, wads it up, and you watch the video and all he did was spin out.
Yeah. The only other thing I can think of, was Terry Phillips was in Jordan's other car. Last lap, turn 4, Terry Phillips and Jay Noteboom got into each other. To me, it was just super hard racing. Was it a deliberate, oh my God, I'm gonna take you out kind of move? I didn't see that. That's not how I looked at it.
It was between Terry and Jay and Dylan Smith even. Dylan was clear away from him, but it was good hard racing between those 3. And unfortunately, Jay and Terry got together and just good hard racing, coming off of 4 for the win.
Well, the way I see it, in my opinion, they go into the lower side of 3. When the track is dry slick, Noteboom's on the bottom. He's gonna skate up the track a little bit. Terry Phillips is trying to hold his position like he should, but when you've got a 2,500-pound car with 600 horsepower or whatever, I don't know if he had a crate or not. If he had a crate, he had probably 450, 475, something like that. But anyways, with 400 to 600 horsepower, when you're on the bottom of that corner and that track goes real dry slick, like you said, driving on ice, the car itself is going to skate up. When it skates up, you're at the mercy of the car to some degree.
Especially with the momentum that Jay was carrying, not only at that moment, but through the whole race. He had great drive
my
off the
God.
corner. He could put the car where he wanted and it would stick. But coming off of 4 that time, just looked good, clean, hard racing, and there was contact.
Absolutely. You know, so kudos to Jay. He's a hell of a driver. He is an all-time great. If IMCA had a Hall of Fame for modified drivers, Jay Noteboom would qualify to be in that group. And it's great to see Jay back in a win in a GRT car.
I noticed that.
Yeah. You notice how many GRT cars are out there basically kicking ass right now. You've got Justin Zeitner. He's come on strong. Yep. Everybody knew Justin was going to be good. There was no doubt about his talent. There was no doubt. But even I was like, oh my God, this guy could hang with anybody at any time, and he's proven it. Right. He's won down in the Southwest. Yep. He got the Park Jefferson win, although I think he was 5 pounds light or something like that last year. But Justin Zeitner shows up. You better bring your sack lunch and maybe a pudding snack because you're going to need both of them.
Justin's raced forever. He used to run super late models.
Look at his family. He comes from grade A stock.
But him in a modified took a lot of people by storm last year because they didn't expect it. And if he stays with it, he's going to be one of those guys that he pulls in the track and heads hang and, all right, Justin's here again.
Yep, Justin's here again.
He's going to be a person to keep an eye on this season, next season.
Oh, absolutely. Jay Noteboom right now. Jay Noteboom. Granted, it's the Spring Nationals, but the Spring Nationals at Beatrice is no small race. It carries a lot of name recognition with it. Jay Noteboom in that GRT, that's going to be a combo to watch this year. I think he has proven that that car, I mean, even you had mentioned, he could put that car anywhere on the track he wanted. Right. He could do anything he wanted on that track.
And Jay's got enough experience, and he's ran enough chassis from different manufacturers. He's always been successful.
Always.
But it's been a long time since I've seen a car of his work as good as it did on Saturday.
That was, to steal a line from Jimmy John's, it was freaky fast.
Yeah.
I mean, freaky fast. You know, I'm freaky slow, but that was freaky fast.
And you know you said Jimmy Johnson, right?
Jimmy Johnson, you know. It's Monday.
Just because we spent the weekend in Charlotte doesn't mean Jimmy Johnson said it.
Tell you what, this little boy here, you know, I used to live down in that area. I went to Hendrick's Motor Operation, or, you know, race operation. I did my best. I turned in my social security card, my driver's license. I filled out an application. They just wouldn't take me.
Did you give him your green card?
No, because
that's why.
I only had my purple card on me. I didn't have the green card. You know, it is what it is.
Should have given him the credit card.
Yeah. Well, they can have my debt. Yeah, I have it. That's why it's called debt card. Yeah. Yeah, the eyes rubbed off. Debt card.
That's why I don't have one.
Yeah. I tell you what, I do want to make a shout out. So Jay Noteboom wins modifieds on Saturday night. Dustin Larson wins stock cars. He's a really, really good driver. There was a Justin Addison, I believe, out of Norfolk.
Yeah.
He won sport mods. Justin who? I was like, Justin, I was waiting for like a Llewellyn or a Preiner or something like that. Not saying Justin's not a good driver, but I was really shocked. Norfolk drivers did very good at Spring Nationals this year.
Drivers from that region, from that location, Norfolk, Columbus, Rising City, for some reason, every one of them is bad fast. I don't know if it's something in the water up there or if they're growing their own vegetables or what, but I haven't seen a driver come out of there that's not a caliber driver.
Right. Before we go to break, one thing I do need to mention, and I don't know if you knew this, here a couple of weeks ago we had the Razor chassis meet and greet. Yep. I was talking to Mary Melcher and her husband, the promoters and owners of US 30 Speedway. Do you know Dick Berger and Speedway Illustrated? They did a tour, I believe it's in the Midwest, of all the dirt tracks. Guess who was the number 4 dirt track in the entire Midwest? US 30 Speedway.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, so I want to make a shout out to Mary Melcher and that family. They bust their butts off every week. You go to Mary Melcher's, and it's MARIMELCHER. can't believe I spelled that.
How long did it take you to remember that?
Pretty damn long time. A long time. So,
Never mind the cue card behind the cameras that's got it spelled out for him.
well, you know, that hooked on phonics is working for me. So, tell you what, we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back here on Slingin' Dirt, so stay tuned.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff with DriveDirtCars.com. Does your current race operation look like this? Well, if it does, give us a call at 815-990-2657. We're actually financing Harris race cars and CMC crate motor connection crate motors for your racing operation. Our payments range anywhere from $200 to $350 a month. If you'd like to get a new motor or you'd like to get a new chassis, give us a call, 815-990-2657.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin' Dirt TV. I'm Buddy Ray, Matt Dennis. Slingin' Dirt's presented to you by Joe's Karting, your place to race. Tell you what, we went to, my wife and I went to Lena, Illinois. I met a guy by the name of Jeff Gear. Tell you what, you couldn't ask for a better last name for a race car driver.
Right.
If they have kids, does that make them gearheads? So, just wondered about that. Actually, Jeff Gear and his crew was quite possibly some of the funnest people I've ever met. I'm not going to go into great detail, but when I get ready to get my cameras out and I'm getting ready to do the interview, in their Illinois version of Chumley, and they know who I'm talking about, when their version of Chumley walks up to me with a jar of an adult beverage and says, "Would you like a sip?" I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun day. I'm not kidding. That's how it went. Jeff Gear owns DriveDirtCars.com. A lot of people have been blowing up Facebook, trash talking them. A lot of people have been supporting them. I'm on the fence. I'm not for it, and I'm not against it. And I told him that. What he's doing is you can finance modifieds, sport mods, A mods, and you get the crate motor option with them. Off the top of my head, they are Harris cars. He'd like to work with other builders. They are Harris cars. Kyle Brown's working with them on this. For a roller, for a sport mod roller, I believe it was $18,500.
If I remember right,
Yep.
it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I looked through all the information, but $18,500 sounds about right for the roller.
Yep. Well, I tell you what we're gonna do. Let's just go straight to Jeff Gear, and let Jeff Gear talk about what he's doing. So without further ado, here's Jeff Gear and the Gearheads. Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin' Dirt. I'm Buddy Ray. Matt Dennis is probably, my co-host. He's probably out doing whatever, but he's not here. I tell you what, we made a really long road trip. Lena, Illinois. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah,
Lena or Lena?
Yep. Lena.
Lena. It's almost like Colorado meets West Virginia. Coming through Galena and Dubuque and all that.
Yeah, we're out here in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's no Highway 20 basically joins Illinois and Iowa, and we're just out here.
That Zach Brown band, I understand what Highway 20 is all about now. Because you get out here west of Lena and you could see for like 30 miles. I thought Iowa had some hills. Illinois is not as flat as you think it is. So, tell you what, out here in Lena, Illinois, this is Chris Gear. He drives, the number one.
It's Jeff Gear, buddy.
Okay. See? It's early on a Saturday. What did I say?
Said Chris Gear.
Or Chris, I don't know why. Chris.
It's because my business partner's name's on the other side.
Yeah, right there. Right there. So, okay, we'll restart that. Yeah, we're gonna restart that. Hey everybody, I'm Buddy Ray. We're back here on Slingin Dirt. We took a road trip out to Lena, Illinois. Matt Dennis, my co-host. Y'all have seen him. He's probably at home doing something or other, but he's not here. Like I said, we came out to Lena, Illinois, and we got Jeff Gear.
Yes.
Driver of, now do you go by 866 or 1866 or?
Well, I think we're just going to try to register it as the #1 car if nobody else has it, so.
Oh, okay. I mean, 1866.
Yeah, well,
speed, 1866 go fast. I mean, you can have a lot of play on words with that.
I just keep telling my wife that I hope to be #1 on the track, but I'm always #1 in her heart.
Have you been #1 in anybody's hearts at the racetrack?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Now, how long have you been
Maybe
racing?
the guys I sponsor.
Yeah, the guy, yeah. Make sure that you treat your sponsors really good out there, guys. How long have you been racing now?
I really haven't been racing that long, since 2015. So, and that was a tail end of 2015. I've been watching my father-in-law do it for the last couple of years, and I figured if he could do it, well, anybody could.
I don't know how you're supposed to take that. So where do you race at then?
We have tracks in Darlington, Wisconsin, Lafayette County Speedway, and then we go to Farley, Iowa. And then I don't race there, and really we haven't too much in 2015. In 2014, they went down to LaSalle quite a bit.
No, how far is that from here?
LaSalle's about an hour and a half. So.
It's about an hour and a half to any place from Lena, from what I've seen so far.
Yeah. Darlington is
Well,
really
yeah.
It's about 30-40 minutes from here, so it's not too bad of a drive. But we used to have a track right here by Freeport, which is 10 minutes away, but it closed down. So. That's a pretty unfortunate thing, so now we have to drive.
The track in Darlington, how big of a track was that?
I have no idea. Is it half mile?
Oh, half mile. Now, in 2015 when you started, you only did the last half of the season.
I only did like 3 races.
At the same track, or?
Well, when you wreck your car every single time, buddy, it's hard.
Trust me, I know, I've lived it. What tracks did you race on those 3 nights?
It was in Farley.
Just in Farley?
Yeah.
Now, what size track is Farley?
Farley was a big half mile. I think it's, what is it now? Is it 3/8? Yeah, it's a 3/8.
So what gear did you run in the sport mod there?
I have no idea.
You just put a gear in it? And
Whatever Bob had in there. What did Bob have in it, Tim? 543.
Oh, there you go. For those of you out there, I actually want to make a drive to Farley, Iowa.
It's a great track, great facilities. I mean,
it looked like a really good laid out facility, but you could see it was huge at one time.
Yeah, they shortened it up.
Yep. 2015 being your first year, give me something that really shocked you about racing and something where you're like, it's not as hard as I thought.
I'll tell you the first time that I got into the car, as a former spectator,
Yep.
to go from watching and saying, man, that'd be a lot of fun, or when somebody crashes and you're like, how in the hell did he do that? I can't believe that guy did that to somebody else. When you actually get in the car, all of those thoughts completely disappear.
It's a lot tougher than it looks.
It's the first time I got in the car, I got out of it and went, boy, I don't know if this is for me.
Yeah. Have you ever drag race, street race before?
Well, yeah, I got some faster cars.
Well, I've done it. The State Patrol in Nebraska knows that. Yeah. With that being said, though, a lot of people that come from other motorsports venues like drag racing or road course racing, they kind of knock the circle track guys. You're like, well, anybody can do that. I'm like,
anybody can turn left. That's
yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but like me, I'm turning more right to go left.
Right.
You know, when you go into the corners, they're not used to that. And I was arguing with a buddy of mine this winter. He goes, oh, drag racing's so much harder than circle track. I was like, no. No, anybody can go in a straight line.
Yeah.
You know,
well, and then you put a car on either side of you, and you're turning right to go left into the corner, and the dynamic of it is so much different than drag racing, either in a car or in a boat or anything else.
Being a new driver, Give me something that you have found out where people may have blown the sport out of proportion. You're like, well, it's not all that tough, or it's not that hard, or...
I think the hardest part for me was just actually getting in and doing it. I mean, it's not a matter of whether or not it's hard or whatever. It's more, do you have the balls?
Yeah.
To get into a car with 400 plus horsepower with 20 to 25 other guys and go as fast as you possibly can. I mean, it gives a whole new respect for what these guys do every single Friday and Saturday.
What'd you think of the car first time you went into the corner? The left rear hikes up, and you feel like you're going 100 mile an hour on a pogo stick?
Well, the first car that I had was a GRT. So I've only been doing this for a short time, and I think my father-in-law's had me buy about 7 cars. So every time I've gotten onto the racetrack, it's been in a different car. So it does make it a little difficult whenever you want to drive the same car every time. But the GRT, the 2014 GRT that we had, the left rear really hiked up a lot, and I think so. Your question before that other people don't realize. I didn't realize that I had to drive like this, whenever you smash the gas.
And that's not an exaggeration, in the modified, we drive like this half the time. Yeah, everybody thinks we're standing straight up like we're driving Miss Daisy. We're not, we're like this. If you had a camera inside the car looking at me, most of the time I'm kind of like, where's my GPS? I spin out a lot more and probably I go forward, so.
Well, I'm hoping to not have that problem this year. But
you've got a really nice car right here.
Yeah, Kyle Brown did a great job over at Harris putting this car together.
This is the 16, right?
Yes, this is a 2016 Harris Sport Mod.
Yeah, we're going to be going into what you're doing with these cars here in a little bit. In 2016, what is your plans? Where do you plan on racing? What do you achieve, or what do you hope to accomplish and achieve?
I'd really love to finish a feature race. That would be great. It sure would be nice.
You guys laugh out there. It's not easy.
It's not. But see, what I did is I sponsored a lot of the cars that are going to be at the tracks that we go to. So I would just like to think that if I just follow them, we can get to the glory land.
So you bought your blockers, kind of. It's not a bad. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, we sponsored the guy that won the Sport Mod Championship up in Darlington. So what I did is I just sponsored the guys that are going to be really good, and a couple of the local guys around here that we know, and then Tim is driving the other house car here that's behind you, and I'm going to assume he's going to give me the courtesy of getting out of my way.
Well, you would assume.
He's not going to.
Of the tracks that you've been to so far, what's your favorite track and why?
I really liked Farley. I've only been to we've probably been to 5 or 6 actual racetracks, around here that I've been to, but I really like driving Farley. It's wide, so it gives me a lot of room as a new driver.
Yes.
So I have a lot of room to make mistakes, and you can correct them easier.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot more space. Darlington is a pretty fast track, but Farley is by far probably my favorite track to drive on. And I like that Keith up at Farley, if you race there, he lets you come and practice.
Really?
And so that's what I think is a huge thing, that as a new driver being in here, is that there's not enough practice time. I
was going to ask you, what's the biggest thing that you think goes against the new drivers in the sport? And you said, practice.
Practice is huge. It's really, and I know they have insurance that they're worried about, and then obviously coming out and grading the track and everything. But if you take the Chicago Bears, which didn't do so great this year, but if you take them, that's my favorite team. But you take them and then you don't let them practice. Do you think that they're going to be good on opening day?
No.
And that's the biggest thing is, as a new driver, and we sponsor Jaden Fryer, and I know he'd love to get on the track more. So it would be beneficial to anybody that's new that wants to get into the sport, and and even some of these old crusty dogs that we have out there, to get out, get their cars out, and go and practice.
You're so new into the sport, and you're so green in a lot of ways. When you see somebody new wanting to get in the sport, what's the number one piece of advice that you could tell these guys out there watching this?
Set a budget. Set a budget for what you want. That is the biggest thing.
My wife is off camera going, pointing at me.
My wife didn't even look up because she knows that I did not set a budget. And actually, I had somebody tell me that.
20-some years, I've never set a budget.
There's just so much cool stuff you can buy.
Yeah. I mean, chrome always makes the cars go faster.
Set a budget.
Makes me spin out faster.
Set a budget, pick a track that'll allow you to practice. And one of the biggest things that I did is I surrounded myself with some pretty awesome people that know, I think between Troy and Tim and Bob and Nick and all of these guys that we have that are part of the Get a Pro Motorsports team, I think you guys have, between all of you, probably 125 years worth of dirt track racing experience because they're so old.
Wow.
But
we got Abe Lincoln back here somewhere?
yeah, he's back there.
Yeah, he's raising his hand.
Yeah, but we have these guys that have so much experience, and I sometimes, like just in our conversations, you've asked me questions like, about trans. I don't know. They put it together. I just get in and drive it.
My crew chief, Jeff, he would rather, if you've been following me on Facebook at all, he's like, oh, hell no, get away from the car. You just drive it and tear it up. Let me fix it. Don't wrench on it. Don't do nothing. And you're right. There's guys will walk up to me, what are you doing here? What are you doing there? It's like, I don't know.
Whatever he wants.
When the top 10 fast guys are all running the same thing, there's got to be something there. So until they explain it, I'm going to run it.
My crew chief is a little different. He doesn't so much work on the car. He's more of a motivator. Mm-hmm. And so Richard, my first race, gave me some really bad advice. He just said, push the pedal all the way to the floor and hold on.
Actually, in my experience, that may not be all that bad of advice.
Well, it was when I started to almost hit the wall.
Yeah, but a lot of times in the certain track conditions, in my opinion, if you actually get into the throttle, it'll get you out of trouble versus getting off the throttle. A lot of times I see the new guys, they'll get a little spooked on the track, they'll lift off the throttle, and all of a sudden the car's going towards the wall. And so if you spin or hit the throttle, and I'm not saying you just stop on it, but you get into the throttle, it'll actually turn the car, it'll get you out of trouble, and you'll be better off. So that may not be a bad piece of advice, but
yeah, as a new driver, it's
not as easy as it looks. Everybody's pointing at.
He was trying to explain the difference between a sport mod and then going to an A mod and a 4-bar car, and he goes, "Just hammer down; it'll fix itself."
Oh yeah, a lot of times they will. And, a lot of times they won't either. So.
But there's a big difference in driving. When I went from driving that 2014 GRT to driving a sport mod Harris, there's a big difference in the way that the car handles and the suspension and everything. As a newer driver, getting into the sport mod class is definitely a big, I think to go to this and then go to A mod was a good idea. For me to get into an A mod right away, probably one of the worst decisions that I made.
It might have been one of the worst, let's be honest. It's one that you'd like to have made. Yeah, my wife's going, no.
Yeah, if I could go back and do it again, I probably would have just done sport mod to get started with, to understand, the drivability of the race car and everything.
But you're having fun so far. That's number one. Yeah. I've had some guys tell me the guys that go out there for fun are never going to get anywhere. You got to treat it like a job. You got to treat it serious. You got to respect the sport. And I bought into that for a number of years, but I got to thinking, when you have fun with anything in life, you'll actually excel at it way more versus being all super serious. I'm not saying that you don't have to be serious, because you do have to be serious.
Right.
You have to treat these cars, for the most part, kind of like they're cup teams. You have to watch your budget, you got to watch your spending, you got to watch what makes financial sense. We're never going to make money actually funding one of these cars. When you go out, when
you figure it out, let me know.
Yeah, when you're spending $30,000 for a turnkey mod and you win what, $300?
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about the maintenance and the broken parts and stuff like that. We're not making money, but you have to have fun doing the sport to be successful at the sport. I mean, you still have to be serious, but still.
As a guy that's 29 years old, I don't have a tremendous amount of hobbies. I mean, I think the dreams of being an NFL player are dead right now. That's probably not going to happen. And so what I found is that specifically, you're going through high school and you're playing all these sports, but whenever you get into your 20s and into your 30s, there really isn't a whole lot of sports that you can do on a professional level and in competitive level. And that's what the dirt track racing really brought to me was.
Well, I went out for WWE, but they hired John Cena, so I got stuck.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just can't believe it with this body that I didn't make it.
Well, yeah, to me, I mean, you're kind of like a Randy Orton kind of guy, you know. So
no, but it's fun. You got to have fun with doing this. I think the moment that it's not. I don't do anything. If I'm doing a hobby, if it's not fun for anymore, I'm just not going to do it. So.
No, because you're not going to succeed if you're not having fun doing it. You look at business owners, successful business owners, and I know you have Get a Pro. You run it like a true business, but in some part of you has got to have fun having that business, building stuff, watching stuff come together. So you do it. Anything that somebody, I don't care what it is in life, when you're successful at it, you have fun doing it. Mm-hmm. So I tell you what, we're going to take a break. When we come back from break, I want to talk to you about a new program that you're rolling out in 2016. To say that it's taken Facebook by storm is an understatement.
Yeah, it's really blown up.
So we'll be right back here on Slingin Dirt TV.
(2016) Producers Hybrids B-Mod Nationals will be held on March 25th and 26th with qualifying races on Friday night where the top 6 spots for the A feature will be determined. On Saturday night will be the last chance features with the top 5 going to the A feature along with the C and B mains for the last 3 spots. The winner will get a $2,500 paycheck. Can anybody get into the top 3 spots besides our awesome trio of drivers, Tyler Fry, Scott Stisco, and Kyle Preiner? The last place in the A feature will pay $300. Not bad. Also on hand will be the Nebraska 305 Sprint Series and the popular Sport Compacts. With $2,500 and $300 to start the feature, don't miss out on this exciting preseason special that is sure to draw the best drivers across from the Midwest. For more info, go to ButlerCountySpeedway.com or call Brent at 402-369-0233 or Derek at 402-369-0535.
Everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. I'm Buddy Ray. This is Matt Dennis. Your thoughts? Financing a race car.
It's kind of a touchy subject to me. I mean, I could build cars and finance them out to anybody, but then I run the risk that they wad it up and they want to get it fixed, but now they stop paying me. So now I'm the bad cop and I'm going out there, I'm talking to them, I'm repossessing material and product. But for the guys that keep up on their payments and maintenance and straighten the frame or something like that, it's a great deal. Yeah. So it's kind of a fine line on how it can go.
As we watched the interview, the one thing that he did allude to, but it wasn't sealed, but it is now sealed after the interview was shot, is they do have warranties on their crate engines. Wow, how would you say that's innovative? Warranty on a race engine?
I would say so.
I would say so.
Especially if they're lined up with a certified builder that can open it and repair it.
Connection.
And
all they do is build
and they've got a good program going.
Oh yeah. When I looked at his car, I'm not gonna lie, that was a gorgeous car. Now look, I love my Razor, I love my Prowler, but I'm not gonna lie, that Harris car, that was a car to appreciate. I mean, that was a beautiful, beautiful piece. I was just kind of slobbering all over it myself. Trust me, if Kyle Brown, you make a nice car, but Travis Roth, you still got my heart, bud. I still like my Razor. So with that being said, when Jeff asked me what his thought was on financing cars, and I'm watching people attack them, right away I was like, no, dumb idea, dumb. And then I got to thinking, I'll go out to racetracks, and I know you've seen this. You'll go out to racetracks and you stand back and you'll just you're a part supplier and somebody's gonna walk up, Matt, I need this. It's $700. Just put it on the card. Or I tell you what, I'll catch you next week at the shop and I get paid. Regardless, that's credit.
And before long, that 700 is 14 and 2,800 and so on and so forth, unless the supplier keeps up on it. And bud, you can't have any more parts because the bill's not paid.
Right.
And it has to be paid in full because it's such a large bill now.
I know people are gonna say, oh, bud, I don't have none of my parts on credit. That's fine, a lot of you don't. I know for a fact, a lot of you do. Because I've been there, done that myself.
And there's even people out there that they'll pay the credit card off in the winter so they can race in the summer with it. Which, I mean, if that's how it goes, more power to you.
Jeff?
But as far as like the part supplier, whether it be at the track or at a store, there's been a few shops here locally that wound up out of business because they let so many people get too far out of line on that credit.
With that being said though, there are terms that have to be met to get a car. And it's not like you can just walk in with an 850 FICO score, $10,000 and get a car. That's not how that works. Jeff's got a pretty standardized system set in place. There's gonna be credit checks, there's gonna be personal references checked. He's gonna check you 9 ways to Sunday. And he runs a successful business, so he's no dummy when it comes to running a business. I bet you, Jeff may not like me here, or may not like me saying this, but for every 10 drivers that approach him, I bet you 7, maybe 6, maybe 7 might get approved. There's gonna be 3 or 4 that don't. And they're gonna go, well, I got all this money in that. But when you listen to Jeff, and when I listen to him off camera, the guy wants more drivers on the track. He wants more cars at the racetrack. He has a love for the sport that, rivals anybody out there. He's just trying to help everybody.
Right, and he's approaching it in a manner of like going to the bank for a car loan or a house loan or something like that. But in this aspect, he is the bank. So he has his rules, his stipulations, his contract.
Look, you don't have to do it.
And it's either abide by it or you don't get it. Just like a mortgage payment. You don't pay the mortgage, you don't get your house.
No. I knew he had a passion for what he's doing when he talked about his father-in-law. He had a very, very good point. How many drivers out there have talent to drive, but they don't have the funds to be in good equipment?
And this makes it affordable for those guys.
Yeah, like he said, how many people can just walk out and, his sport mod that was sitting there that we just seen, it's $30,000 or $33,000. Knowing God's creation, can I afford that? But could I afford $550 a month for a turnkey car with a warranty? $550 is a lot easier to swallow than $33,000.
Right.
So.
And even though right now he's got his program with Harris, and I'm not knocking any chassis out there. They're all good, they're all bad.
They can all win on any given night.
They all go in spurts.
Yep.
And even if he can keep Harris on and he can add a Razor from Roth or a GRT or something like that, because there are drivers that specifically only want chassis A or chassis B, so if he can have options with that, he can probably get more drivers in too.
Oh, absolutely. So if you guys want more information, just watch the sponsor breaks. DriveDirtCars.com. They're a big sponsor and supporter of the Slingin Dirt TV. Get a hold of Jeff Gear. The guy will treat you right. He'll treat you good.
And they do have a Facebook page to find them on also. So
Yes,
they've got the website plus a Facebook page.
And they're hooked up with Crate Motor Connections for all their motorized needs. Tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come back and we're going to go look at the North Carolina toy. We don't know what to name this thing yet.
And that might be something for viewers to help us decide.
Yeah. We've come up with everything from White Lightning to the midget hauler. I was thinking about putting the short bus on it. Here comes Buddy Ray. Look, you got off the short bus.
You may have to paint it yellow now.
Yeah. I mean, One of my sponsors called it the world's largest ambulance, which is kind of funny. So, tell you what, we're going to be right back. Here's a commercial break, and we'll go look at the toy.
Come to Diamond Auto Detailing to get your car showroom shine again for $149.99.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt TV, presented by Joe's Karting. Joe's Karting, your only place to race. Let's get straight to it. Dynamic drive lines. Last week we were talking about third members. This week he's going to give us the shaft on shafts. So here's Mike Bennett with dynamic drive lines on drive shafts. So Mike, right now you're balancing the shaft. How important is it in today's race cars to make sure that these things are perfectly balanced?
They need to be completely within like 1 or 2 thousandths of balance weight because it affects everything. The RPMs and everything that we're turning, they just need to be like, perfect.
When the shafts are out of balance, can you actually lose some power?
Yep. And then they'll just start destroying parts, rear end gears, transmissions, all that good stuff. Okay, to get the balance on the shaft, this indicator here moves, and that'll tell us how far out of balance it actually is. One of the biggest things you want to do on the drive shafts before you weld them is you got to make sure that they're straight before you weld. We like to keep them within 3 thousandths run out before we weld.
So we watched you balance this shaft here. Now, even if you don't build the shaft, you can repair just about any shaft off of anything.
Yep, I can do. I mean, we do everything from race car stuff to semi stuff.
Well, yeah, I see a shaft over here, and unless that's the world's biggest modified or hobby stock, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that's a pull-in truck. We do pull-in truck shafts, and
if you had to guesstimate, what's your biggest source of business? Is it the racing side or is it the non-racing side?
it's the racing side. I mean, that's like, I would say 90% of what I do is race car stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go, folks. Mike Bennett from Dynamic Drive Lines. Tell you what, drive shafts, huge part of the car. I think those are a lot of times an overlooked item on the car.
It is, especially when it comes to something as simple as greasing a U-joint.
Oh my God, I don't know how many times I've crawled underneath the car and you grab the U-joint and it's going like this. And you're like, really? Really? You're gonna turn 7,000 RPM with that?
I don't know how many times in 19 years now, I'll ask somebody, did you remember to grease your drive shaft this week? Oh no, I just grease it once a month.
Where you get this? Well, yeah, this is the grease gun, right? This is what I used.
Oh, well, it's out of grease too.
Yeah.
But I am a firm believer.
I just got that between us.
I'm a firm believer that drive shaft gets greased after every single night of racing.
You know, it may not be a bad idea. If it's a very wet, sloppy night or a very, very dusty night, you do it between races.
And there's been times that I've done that too. I mean, I've come to the point where I was ready to scream and yell at somebody because it's not important.
Ooh, yeah.
Explain that to the guy last week who didn't grease it and it broke and stuck in the ground and then ripped his rear end out.
Or, you know, got stuck in the ground, came apart, went through the cockpit, took his leg off.
Right.
You know,
well,
yeah. I had that almost happen to me at I-80 twice last year.
Not to throw names out, but Lee Gardner, he got in a racing accident
That was a clutch incident.
long before I got into racing.
That was long before you were born.
Yeah, but it wound up, the drive shaft came up through the cockpit and he got hurt pretty bad from it. And
Lost a finger, I believe.
lost his thumb. And
Yep.
and most viewers know who Lee Gardner is. He's
Especially around the Omaha area.
he's a very, very good tech official.
Very, very well respected.
But I mean, drive shafts grease the U-joints. Don't over tighten the U-bolts because some people don't have extras, and then you got guys like Buddy that have the oddball size and you can't find a U-joint.
Yeah. And it was a common size one, by the way. I tell you what, there's a lot of good manufacturers, a lot of great parts suppliers out there. But I tell you what, Dynamic Drivelines, they came on board to sponsor us this year on our cars. Even you were impressed by their slip yokes and their...
Yeah.
Wow.
The machine work, the quality, and he's got expensive items, but he's got not so expensive items. But no matter what, the quality from Dynamic Drivelines is always there.
Not saying that nobody else is, but Dynamic Drivelines has got some quality. We've talked drive shafts. We're gonna play a little trivia real quick. Today's subject is blah, 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 blah. Really? What time do you think it is in the show now?
Looks like it's about 11 o'clock.
Yeah. No, it's Songer Says time.
Oh, geez.
Oh, geez.
Keep your kids away from the screens, please.
We are not responsible for anything he says. We have no idea. We're watching it the first time that you're seeing it. And supposedly there's one coming out about me, I guess. That's gonna be, yeah.
Ooh, that could probably be the whole episode of Slingin Dirt.
Hey, Jamie, I don't get even. I get one up. Trust me. So today's subject of Bud Says is Jamie Songer. The only 3 words in his vocabulary is really, really, really. Really. Bring it. So, tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to be right back. We're going to wrap up the show. We're going to show you guys the toy we got and, you know, why they're important in racing. It's a good subject I think we need to cover, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's Slingin Dirt.
Warning, the related content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Damn, I cannot wait till racing actually starts. I am so sick of the violet or taupe. Which color should we wrap the car? This sponsor or that sponsor? Or what do you think it will look like, Buddy Ray Jones? I mean, I really want to hear, I love the stuff coming from USMTS because I can actually see some racing. I really don't care what color you paint your car, who wraps it, what wrapped it, who your sponsors are, or none of that. I know it's big to get out to your sponsors, but to Songer, it's annoying as hell. I do not, this is the time of year I hate. Oh, should I race this or should I not race that? Race this or not race that? Oh, and then the updates, the daily Andrew Berg, hour by hour, play by play, what's going on with the car. He does it on vacations, other people do it on their car. Today we put on 3 lug nuts. Good day in the shop today. Way to go, guys. And then they list them all. Just tell the guys thanks. That's all you gotta do. Hey, as they're leaving the shop, hey, thanks for coming up and helping. I really appreciate it. No Facebook post needed, no nothing. Don't need it. Update. Today we hung the body. And you look at it and the body looks like some frickin' morphodite frickin' cross-eyed lesbian put the body on. I mean, God, who puts that on? It's crooked and the fenders aren't straight. It's like, dude, really? Wow. I mean, and then you got the guys who have won, me namely, I mean, I don't say this, but I've won a whopping 3 races a year every year. Going to run for a national title this year. Gonna get the national title. Who in the hell are you kidding? I mean, you don't even believe it. Your dead relatives don't believe it. Nobody believes that you're going from 3 wins a year, or 2, or 1, to national title. Hey, ding, 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 the guy who says it the most, the car's gotta finish the race. You haven't finished a race in frickin' 3 years without wrecking or something happening. So I don't get where you think you're running for a national title. But I just can't wait for the racing to start because I'm about to choke some people.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt TV. Matt Dennis, Buddy Ray, the world's fastest go nowhere B-Mod racer.
And apparently I turned into a chauffeur this weekend.
Hey, you served a very, very good purpose, though, in all actuality. Look, it's no secret. It's out on Facebook. We did go get a motorhome, or not, well, toter home. You know, I've had a lot of people talk some pros and cons, but why don't you come on out? I've had some people kind of blow my Facebook up. They kind of want to see the thing, but we're not wanting to show it to brag it off. We're wanting to talk about the pros and cons of having one. You know, what am I looking to get into here? Did I make the right decision? Did I not make the right decision? You've been in several toter homes. You've been all over the country in toter homes. And you know, I got this kind of with your seal of approval. So.
Don't put this on me.
Hey, I needed a driver. So come on outside and let's go talk toter homes. Hey everybody, so here's what we got. We got a toter home. This is gonna be something new for me.
He's still not sure about it. He's still skeptical.
Yeah, skeptical. The one thing I've seen is over the years, especially the last couple of years, I've talked about how, and you and I have talked about this off camera in depth, I've wanted to do more traveling. I loved going to Vegas. I loved going to Colorado. I loved going to Kansas.
Well, even if you stay Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, centrally, you want to go hit the tracks you haven't been to, the bigger ones, the smaller ones, just someplace you haven't been yet.
You know, I've seen the memes, whatever you want to call them on Facebook. You know, the guy, you know, talks about how rough racing is in his $200,000 toter and $40,000 stacker, while the guy who's got one car on a single open trailer brags about how much fun he had. Trust me, this is no $100,000 toter.
No. I was there when the paper was signed, and it's far from a six-figure truck.
Yeah, far from it. With that being said, for what I want to do regionally, this is a perfect truck for that.
Right.
But I do have, you know, 4 or 5 people that like to go, that want to go with me quite a bit. The one thing I did notice, though, I understand why people want to use toter homes. I went with Ari Scouten last year in 2014. Actually, I went with him to Atchison Speedway over in Atchison, Kansas, and I took a shower. It was 105, humid. I took a shower. It felt great. We didn't have to pay for hotel rooms. You know, and like you and I were talking, on a toter home, if you're racing one night a week, 20 or 30 miles down the road, I don't know if the toter home is right for you.
Right. If you're the guy that you go an hour to the track and an hour home, you really probably don't need one.
And honestly, I'm going to do a lot of that.
But if you're the guy where you're going to travel an hour to the track, but tomorrow's is an hour past that,
right,
and the next one's an hour past that, it's easier and cheaper to go an hour and an hour and an hour and 3 home versus an hour there and an hour back, and 2 there and 2 back, and 3 there and 3 back.
Now this toter that I got here, Matt, you say it'll seat 10 comfortably. It'll seat 10, sleep 6.
Yeah.
The couches here do fold out to beds. And then we got 4 seats up front. And you could probably put somebody on that floor and use the little hump right here as a makeshift pillow or, you know, neck support. It does have fridge, microwave, you know, some of the creature comforts of home. In here's the shower. But what we were talking about, with 6 people sleeping in here, whether it be me or any other team, you go Friday night to a dirt track and you don't feel like driving 2 hours home, Well, if the 6 of you stop off at a hotel room, any respectable hotel room is going to be about $100 a night.
Right.
That's $600 for that night. So you take that $600 times 10 nights, that's $6,000 at that point. You take 6,000 or those 10 nights, you know, and let's say you run 20 nights a year. Well, now you're at $12,000. 12 times 5 years. If you just run 12 or 20 nights a year for 5 years, you know, traveling around, that's $60,000 that you didn't have to pay in hotel rooms.
Right, and that's money that you can put back into your program and the maintenance on the toter, because that's probably the biggest downside to a toter. It doesn't matter if it's a big one or a small one, the maintenance cost is more expensive.
The maintenance cost is more expensive, but you got to keep in mind that when we're talking about that $60,000 over 5 years,
Right. Now it's feasible.
It's feasible because you're saving money. You're not buying the hotel rooms. You've got this. I was really shocked on this particular totem home. I ended up getting insurance. Katie Reichs, thank you so much for your help. Actually, my own insurance guy, he was really apologetic. He called back $300 a year, which shocked us all. It's a lot cheaper. It is registered as an RV. But a lot of people have gotten a hold of me on Facebook. They wanted to see pictures of it, and I know you and I had talked. I didn't want to put it out there. I'm not bragging about it whatsoever because, like you said, I'm very skeptical on it. I'm not completely sold on it.
Right.
You know, it's something new to me. Matt did go with. He's a certified mechanic on diesels and big trucks. And so he knows a lot more about these, so I'm going off of a lot of what Matt says.
And that's another thing is, don't just go look at it and buy it.
No.
If you know what you're looking for, top to bottom, in and out, great. I mean, that's why Bud had me go with him to look at this one. But if you don't know what you're looking for, see if you can get somebody to go with you. See if you can find a shop wherever the toter's located. Hey, can I bring it over and you guys charge me whatever to basically inspect it? Is it worth the $50,000 they're asking, or is it only worth 20?
Right. The one thing also is, if you want a toter, be reasonable with what you want. You know, Ari Scouting's toter, I love Big Red. That's what we called it. I love Big Red, but for what I do, I wanted something on a smaller scale. And the stuff that I was looking at, you'd looked at it with me, and it was not going to be powerful enough for what I wanted to do.
Right.
We got in this thing, and you're like, bud, you'd go cross country with this in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not overly big, but it's got the power. I can go 75 mile an hour down the road. I do want to make a shout out to Mark Wyman at Predator Trailers. Mark Wyman has helped me a lot with some advice. You know, now I just got to get comfortable with something like this. It's not overly big, but it's got some snort to it.
And back to the don't get in above your head.
Right.
For what you're going to do with it, this truck, this size, would be perfect for somebody in your situation.
I come to get comfortable in this truck, I'll retire in this truck.
And then you got the guys that'll spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 on a whole unit. And that's fine. If that's what they can afford, that's great.
Right. But be true to yourself and make sure you get what's practical.
And most of the time when guys are spending that much, they're on a national touring series of whatever aspect it is. So for them, that is their house.
Right.
It's not just a truck in the driveway, it's home.
This is more like relaxation center while I'm at the track. This isn't really home, although I'm sure my wife is already getting ideas.
After you missed her birthday the other day, this might be your home.
Yeah, Rachel, I love you, hon. I know I missed our anniversary and Valentine's Day and your birthday, but I'll make it up to you somehow. All right, so Matt and I, actually it's your idea. It's a really good idea. All the way back from Salisbury, North Carolina, which is a little podunk town of about 3,000 just east of Charlotte, we were talking about what in the world to name this thing. We went from White Lightning to the Midget Hauler to, oh my God, Bud's riding the short bus. I thought about calling it Big Joe because, you know, I work at Joe's Karting. Call it Big Joe. But I tell you what, how about the person that gives me the best name? In fact, we'll pick the name. Well, You know, something funny, not R-rated, nothing like that. Just a good humorous name for this thing. It looks like an ambulance on steroids. That's what one of my sponsors, Dave Foote, said. For the person that picks the winning name, we're going to give them 5 free races to Joe's. I'll give them 5 free races to Joe's. I want to get personalized plates, and I want to put them on this truck. So when we come down the road, somebody can go, hey, look, there comes the short bus, Bud's getting off of it, or here comes White Lightning, or Rolling Thunder, or whatever, you know. We had about 20 different names.
Yeah, and me and Sal, we've been up for almost 36 hours. We can't really remember all of them.
No.
But we want to tie the fans in with this on what to name it, what to call it.
Yep. So just get a hold of me. Look us up on Slingin Dirt TV on Facebook, or you can get a hold of Joe's Karting on Facebook, or myself, or email me at buddyj@joeskarting.com. I tell you what, after 36 hours,
I think it's time to take a nap.
yeah, so you don't mind?
You guys tune back in next week, see what we got in store. Until then, we're going to catch up on the sleep we lost.